And I can tell you one thing. All South Africans who are married to foreigners, those who've befriended them, those who've sleeping with them, those who are trolling with them, if South Africans were to disappear in South Africa, including your foreign boyfriend, they will celebrate because they want to substitute us. This is a Trojan horse. These guys don't love us. You can tell, even during our discourse, whenever we're crying a crime, I'm a foreigner, which is there. You know, they feel you are being xenophobic. And even South Africans, they are now afraid to voice out their opinions. If I'm in a relationship with a foreigner, and this person is going to suppress me not to speak my mind, that person doesn't love you. I can see Nigerians. What is the crime in Nigerian? Prostitution, drugs. I mean, where do Nigerians work? I mean, Ethiopians, when they come here, they're selling these fake products that they manufacture themselves, Somalis, fake products. They employ no one, and they're giving our kids poisons. And if you raise that, if it's xenophobic, then there's a problem. If I have a partner who's a foreigner and each time I raise this issue and then I'm labeled as xenophobic, but now he can criticize me, now I must also join him and say, yeah, South Africans are xenophobic. Take your kid with a flat head and go to Nigeria. You know, you can't flat lie move. And the South African women, I must emphasize this. South African women, like I've said, they're the most beautifulest in the world because of a variety. In the world, I'm not making a mistake. In the world, even Zulus don't look the same. Colors don't look the same. They look Indians, they look, Philippine, even white people in South Africa. Some of them, they've got curves, they've got bumps. Even Botswanas, beautiful. But now these guys are coming. There is no turn in Nigeria. All women in Nigeria, they're ugly. So they're coming here. They're coming here to mix their genes. In the future, in South Africa, we're going to have a child who's a girl child of 14 years. Long, not even tall, long enough, and this kid will be wearing size 14 shoes. No figure, no calves. A 3 of note, if, at best. A 3, not even a 6. Looking like a man, because of South African women, they are so open. South African women, because they love money, they are the only species on earth that they will sleep with any Godzilla for the sake of money. There are so many people who are poor. Indians in South Africa, you can see they've protected themselves. And I also blame men, because South African men are weak. They've allowed this feminism to push them left and right. It's a subject that I didn't want to get into, but it just makes me boil, because South African women, they love money and they forget which money is temporary. It comes and goes. And these guys, when they come here, they're from the villages of the villages. You check these celebrities, females, they date these guys who are coming from villages in Nigeria. And then after they've been disappointed, because eventually they get disappointed, they go to South Africans, So when they get there, they lift the standard so high. When they come to South African men, yet they've been mesmerized by this guy who's coming from Tanzania, who was like Bushiri, pale, dusty, ashy. I mean, you check Bonang, the guys that they date, come on. South African women, they don't love themselves. That's why I'm going to I won. We put the count to 5,000. I won. But they allowed that.
Yeah, but women have lots of body count very in jail. And African women as a whole,
let me tell you this. The mental illness, it is crazy. People may say whatever, but if you've slept with 50 people, because women don't sleep with people unless they have a feeling. It means you have a feeling for 1, 2, 3, 49. You carry these people, they're imprinted inside you. You meet me, I'm number 52. You want to compare me with all these guys. What normality can reign from there? That's why in the Bible, even Moses was told, destroy la baba and you keep la baba virgin.
2 teenage girls at Overberg High School would have an argument over a guy. This sounds like something that happens every day at every high school. But 2 days later, one of the girls would be found unalive, stuffed in a school closet, brutally stabbed, and the guy that they were arguing about, he would be the main suspect and he would stand trial for her murder. Today I'm talking about the case of Devon Null. And before we get into that, we need to talk about the alleged suspect in this case, Frank. Now, he is a minor. He was 17 when he allegedly committed the crime, and because of this he cannot be named, but in the media he has been referred to by the pseudonym of Frank, and that's what I'll be referring to him as well. Now, Frank is someone who I would call has a history of violence, which I'm going to go through briefly. We know that when he was in grade 3, he got into a physical altercation with a teacher, and the teacher allegedly tried to stop him from pushing a girl over a desk, and then Frank turned on the teacher. We know that in that same year in grade 3 that he stabbed another pupil with a pen, and then in grade 5 he sat attention for getting into fights because he was being bullied, and then in grade 6 he punched another student. And this would go on to around 2020, when Frank was 13 years old, where he would commit his first alleged serious offense, and that would be the rape of an 11-year-old child. Now, Frank has never been found guilty for this offense. It is clear that the MPA is not going to prosecute it. So these are all allegations. So Frank has never been found guilty for any form of rape, but I'm going to be speaking briefly about the allegations that have come forward. We know that Frank was at Albertina camping site over Christmas 2020, along with an 11-year-old girl that he met at the camping site. And this was over Christmas holidays. It's a time where most kids look forward to. There's no school, it's Christmas is coming around the corner. And they were hanging out together, they were swimming, she had her brother, they were all sort of playing together. And we know that this 11-year-old child would accuse Frank of rape, and she would tell her mother, and the mother would get the police involved. Now, this is where things get a bit fuzzy about what actually happened in this case, because we know that Frank was interviewed and he was sent for a psychological evaluation, and in his psychological evaluation he said that I follow my own rules, I don't like being controlled, I love causing trouble. And we know that somehow this case fell between the cracks. The public prosecutor sent a letter to the Department of Social Development officer in Karebo, where Frank is from, and asked the boy to be placed in a program for sexual offenders. The prosecutor says they never got a response, whereas the Office of Social Development says they never received the letter. We also know that there has been a lot of media coverage in this case about the magistrate, after the magistrate allegedly failed to recommend the case to Children's Court. And basically, all of the charges were withdrawn by the MPA in 2023. And this is a case that fell through the cracks, because we have to ask the question about maybe if Frank had received some sort of punishment for this alleged act, maybe Devon would still be alive. Devon was only 16 years old when she was brutally unalived, and we're going to get into the timeline of these events and how investigators, through some really good police work, zoned in on Frank as their main suspect. Devon, we know she got into that argument, or that other girl got into an argument with her over Frank a few days before she was unalived. And then the school was having, Overberg High School was having a sports day on the 7th of August 2024. And we know that there was no CCTV footage of the rugby field where the sports day was occurring, but people were taking videos on their phones of the match, and through these videos, police managed to piece together Frank's movements on that day. We know that he was a first aider, he had access to the staff kitchen to get ice, and that he was also wearing his first aider jacket. Now, on the 7th of August 2024, we have him standing in the rugby field from 2:45 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And that rugby field is located opposite the netball courts, which are adjacent to school buildings. And Devon was last seen alive in this area. We know that at 4 p.m. Devon vanishes. No one sees her after 4 p.m. And then at 4:05 p.m. Frank is seen in CCTV on cell phone footage walking away from the rugby field, and he returns at 4:23. So what was he doing in those 18 minutes? Well, police immediately became suspicious of him even before they checked everyone's phones, because Frank was acting strangely at the crime scene. We know that Devon was reported missing when she did not return home from school, and the school was searched, and she was found in that closet. And detectives say that when Devon was found, Frank was almost hysterical. He wanted to be let in to see her because she was a first aider. And when probed about the argument that happened a few days before, Frank admitted that that argument had been about him. Detectives would zone in on Frank, and they knew that he was their main suspect. So at Devon's memorial service, they filmed his facial expressions. He was seen at the back of the memorial service. He seemed lively. He was chatting. He didn't seem that sad to them that Devon had just passed. And additionally, 3 different people placed Frank inside that building near the storage closet where Devon was found. So we have 3 eyewitness accounts of him being in that area during that time. And after that, detectives went and interviewed him, and Frank allegedly confessed to detectives that he had unalived Devon, and he, accompanied with his family, went to his house in Haribo, where Frank allegedly handed over the murder weapon, that knife, to the police. Now, this case has been fraught in other legal issues since this has occurred. It's been about a year now, but this is expected to go to court soon in September 2025. Now, Frank has been put in a safe place of safety for children because he is 17. He is still 17, and he is still considered a minor. And I do believe that he will be tried as a minor. We know that when he is 18, that it's possible that he might be transferred to prison. Now, Frank was previously declared unfit to stand trial because of a lack of cognitive ability that would result in criminal culpability. But the psychologist in that case also noted that he has a violent history and is likely to commit violent acts in the future. We also know that he has since gone for another psychiatric exam, and now that he is fit to stand trial. And I will be keeping an eye on this case. If you like what I do, consider giving me a like, consider giving me a follow. And I also have a YouTube. I would appreciate it if you could support me by subscribing.
Fellow South Africans, my country people, what a time to be alive in South Africa. Yabona le ifuna ikumazeya le. Yabona le ifuna ikila Makadesh kalena. Hayibo! General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, Bizadi Fire Brigade kuyasha. Phezu kwabo one by one, exposing the rots within the ANC-led government. Listen to this.
Lady, and communicate a message to this drug squad, politicians, the executive, police officers within law enforcement agencies that we're ready for them. I said when I presented earlier, I knew that I've got a target on my back.
Target.
So for me, maybe you'll forgive me in saying this as a Zulu man.
Straightforward. Wow. Ati, I've got a target on my back. Who is the target? South Africans. Remember, he said it during his press briefing that I've got brothers and sisters in this country to protect. Hamzanzi, this is what we're talking about when we say son of the soil. Born in South Africa, for South Africa, for South Africans, for such a time as this. This is personal. Uti, I don't need to take you at the corner. I want to take you right head on, straight. He's calling them out one by one to come and answer. Even those that have left the office, your Begiteles, even former police ministers, Bombalula, coupled with the current one, Mkhun. And what do you have to say about Matlala? I mean, come on. We need to find out who is this Matlala guy. I cannot believe that Matlala is holding the entire South Africa at ransom. What level of wickedness is this? ANC-led government. They have sold us out. They have traded with our future. How do you sell out your own and yet you sold them freedom, you sold them democracy? What level of wickedness is this? Can we imagine the entire, I don't know how many cars within Ekurhuleni municipality that were registered under the name of Matlala, and he was afforded blue lights. I cannot even, stop thinking about the woman who came out last year from November, December, the family of Mr. Bukhashi from Pretoria crying that their son has been kidnapped. And the woman said that Kate knows where my son is. Allegedly, she said he knows. And Mr. Mkhwanazi is telling us the woman had to reach out to him. Because in such cases, the man was never found alive. Kidnappers. I can't even believe it. Allegedly, even our beautiful police officers from Bloemfontein, the ones that went missing, suddenly, mysteriously, and they were found in a river next to Pretoria. We believe, Guti, the same cartel could know what happened to them. Meaning, even as a South African, if you're going to take up a position within the SAPS, you are signing your death sentence. Where are we supposed to be safe? He is even saying politicians can do whatever they're doing. You understand? The people goes to the polls, but these people, they've got the entire country in their pockets. They dictate the pace and they're holding the country. He says, freedom is not going to be earned through the ballot paper. Kodas is talking. We are under siege. This is what I've been telling you about. That we are at war. People did not understand. This is war and there is no neutral ground. If you are not on our side, then you are the enemy and you are making matters worse. And we want to warn all politicians, all people that are, even whether you are not, be careful what you say about General Mkhwanazi, because this one was born in South Africa, for South Africa, for South Africans, for such a time. This one is us and we are him. Talk about an intentional leadership who understands his purpose and who is set on a course. Mkhwanazi, at this level, if I perish, I perish. He came prepared. There's no tricks. We did not watch and observe the enemy trying. They tried to swap the agents were trying to prepare a special seat for him. He swapped the seats. He said he learned from his trainings. And he's bringing the experience to show them that I have not forgotten Bafana Bam. No, I don't come behind you. Straight talk does not break any friendship. That's Mkhwanazi for you. This is a leader of integrity, an intentional leader of son of the soil. This is the one. Not Malema, this is the one. Moses of our generation, Moses of our time, our very own Ibrahim Traore. God protect this man. But Amanzi trying to give him water. He said, no. I've got my own. Chill. We got this. We are covered. He's actually exposed a lot, my country people. Let's engage. What was your observation? How do you think this revelation is going to change the status quo? And we want those that are all implicated to answer to the rule of law. Injury to one is an injury to all. Danko! General Mkhwanazi, we love you. Let's get on live right now, South African time, 9 p.m. Love you, my country people. I believe in your future. Your future is bright. Shalom, shalom.